Hi everyone, Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. It's, really hard to believe. Here we are, March 20th, and first quarter of 2025 is just about in the books. In fact, in our business, we can quickly look, 30, 60, 90 days ahead and have a pretty good idea of what we're seeing and what we're doing. But again, coming up into from winter into spring, we can look at our own pipelines, we can look at our own closings and realize that the income uh, production for 2025 is pretty much in the books for the first quarter of the year. And I understand that the first quarter income wise for most of us in the mortgage business is certainly not 25% of what we're going to do, at least not for many people that I work with, but it is something that we should have projected for back in our business plan. And I think it's really important. And I say this all the time. I want my clients going through and at least updating their business plan. While I hope they would do it every month, I know it probably comes down to once a quarter, and unfortunately, probably not at all. But this is the time it's really important to take a look because your projections for what was going to happen in 2025, uh, good, bad, or indifferent, what you think was going to happen, are you on track to make those things happen? Are the numbers that you're seeing, or the referrals that you're seeing, the types of business that you're seeing, loan sizes that you're seeing, all of these things come into place. Is it what you had anticipated? Is it what you wrote out? Is it what your forethought of this year was going to be? Granted, there may be things that you put into place when we wrote the business plan that are not yet coming to fruition, but you did have some projections, you did have some numbers in there for the first quarter, not only just what you closed or what's in process, but the things that you were going to accomplish. And it's really important to look at this and say, hey, where I'm standing in March, we're heading strongly into the spring and summer buying season. We know that the things that we're going to see and we're going to do are going to generate uh, the business that we're going to, rely on. Probably two-thirds to three-quarters of the business you're going to do all year is going to be in motion, and potentially closed, heading into that direction in the next 90 days. And so paying attention to what's going on really is critical right now. And it doesn't take long for you to sit down and pull out that business plan and take a look at it and start making the adjustments, if necessary. What are there, what's gone exactly as you thought? What's going on that is a surprise? What's not yet taking hold that you thought was going to take hold? What may be happening sooner than you thought? Are market conditions what you expected or anticipated? And all of those things come into play. Some of those things are going to have brought maybe more business or more opportunities to you sooner. Some of those things may be a little delayed. I know we've dealt with a really, strange series of weather events this spring so far, and it's not dissipating to this point. But the reality of it is, you should pay attention to what's going on, because if you don't make those adjustments and you don't look at doing them now, you can quickly fall behind, and a lot of that business is not going to be recoverable, and you're not going to be able to play catch up. So really need to think about that. The other thing that comes out to me is, and this may sound silly, but it's a big function in, my life and for that of my clients, is making sure that you've got your vacation schedules squared away, at least your major vacation planned out, because those things, those vacations that are going to be 10 to 14 days or longer, they take longer to plan, they take longer to book, they get increasingly more expensive as you get closer to the date you'd like to go away. And I know you're sitting there, many of you like, well, what's this crazy guy talking about? But the reality of it is you've got to get it written down. And many of you should have taken one or two of your longer weekend vacations already this year, and at least have on the map, you know, or you pulling out your calendar, sitting down with, you know, looking at what goes on in your life. It could be scheduled around, you know, holidays, could be scheduled around birthdays and anniversaries, could be around family functions. All of those things come into play. But if they don't make it to your schedule, if they don't make it to your calendar, if the wheels aren't in motion to make it happen, you know, and I know it gets really easy in this business just to say, well, you know, maybe next year. And as I get older, I start to look back and I start to think that I wish that there were many of those times that I said, wait till next year. I would have planned a little better. I would have dug my heels in and made sure that I spent the time to go do the things that I wanted to do back then, because sometimes you're not going to get a chance to go do them, or the opportunity may not present itself, or any number of reasons. Heck, you know, again, the people maybe that you wanted to do it with are you know, no longer around to you know, to share those experiences with. So again, it's the middle, you know, here we are, March 20th, and spring is here, and there's a lot going on, and it's really important that you pay attention to doing these things. Also, the Fed meeting yesterday, um, pretty decent meeting, consolidated its position. I don't think there were any surprises. I think the trend on rates continues to be lower. Not, you know, while we're still going to have a certain degree of volatility, at least, you know, until the new administration gets its, you know, its financial picture and its policy things squared away, and we get to see what things are going to look like projecting forward, you know, when it comes to taxes and policy and all these other things, the market's really not going to settle in and understand fully where it's going. But I do believe the March may be bumpy and it may be volatile, but the to me, I believe rates are going to continue, you know, to move in a downward, you know, trajectory, if you will. And it may just take us another, you know, 6 months or so for people and the economy and the markets to get a feel of where we're going and how we're going to get there before it settles in and gives us some indication where, you know, where rates are really truly going to go. But for right now, barring any unforeseen circumstances, the trend is your friend, and the trend is slowly going lower. But you know, the reality of it is rates are not going to go lower fast enough for people to recover the loss in equity appreciation of property right now, because again, the housing market is such where I don't see you know, rates offsetting the increase in prices. And we always have the luxury down the road of buying the house now, locking in the price of that house and refinancing them lower should the opportunity present itself. So just keep that in mind going forward. Pay attention to the mechanics of what's going on. Pay attention to your business plan. Let's get things adjusted. And as always, questions or comments, it's Mike, imtcoaching.com, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.